Now, at this point, now we're connected to streaming.
Yeah.
So this is, apart from maybe just a few seconds lag, this is now being broadcast out onto YouTube. So I have the settings on this as private.
Okay.
So not just anybody and whoever can see it. But this is, if somebody was to log in to YouTube on the link that I gave them, this is what they would be seeing.
Okay.
This is what we're going to be doing here in the next couple of weeks too with our church service. We're moving it off of Facebook and we're going to be putting it onto YouTube Live.
Oh,
So,
then I'll be able to get you.
well, I think for a lot of people, YouTube is a lot more accessible
It is.
than Facebook Live,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And a year and a half into COVID, this is what we're going to finally going to be doing now. So this is us live using the OBS program. So if it was set up, you would be able to do this and you could be reading your stuff. Hi.
Can I use your charger?
Your brother is using my charger at the
Yeah,
moment.
that's why I'm asking, so we can get it to him.
Well, if he's done with it, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that it comes back to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
And they're off again. Okay. Back to the matter at hand. Hi everyone, this is my mom.
Hello,
Burl.
everyone.
To those really close, Fanny Bright.
Forget that.
Yeah. Anyhow. Okay, so Mom, you were talking to me earlier today. When did you come to Calgary?
I came to Calgary, I believe. My mom died in 59. I think I came in 61.
Now, why did you come to Calgary in the first place?
I came to Calgary because my mom's best friend, Winnie Fudger, was here. And she called, and her and mom were very close. They grew up together. And she called, and she knew that mom had passed away. And she said, I really think that you and your little brother should come out and come to the Stampede and see how you like it out here. And yeah, we would love to have you.
So, how long was Grandma? Had it been that Grandma passed away before Grandma Smith, before Grandma Fudger invited you to come out?
Oh, Grandma died. My mom died in 1959.
So it was a couple of years later, right?
Yeah.
You said 60.
I think I came out here in 61.
61.
My brother and me.
Okay, so yeah, it was just a couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay, and by this time you were how old?
I turned 16, I think, the day. Wait, my mom died on 1st of April. And my birthday's on the 4th. In 59. 40, I was born in 43, so what's that?
She died just before your birthday?
Yeah.
That must have been tough.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's hard. I found it very hard when mom died. But she left me in charge of my younger brother, Barry. And, Grandma's friend, Winnie Fudger. It was Daisy Collins and Winnie Abbott went to school together. And at Central School in Buren, Newfoundland. And they were best friends. And then Winnie moved out west and to Calgary. And they kept in touch. And Barry, when she married Lauren Fudger, she had a son, Barry, and Daisy married Frank Smith. And he had 2 children from his first wife who had passed away, Dorothy and Charlie. And him and Mom got married.
I didn't know that I didn't know Grandpa Smith was married before. So he was he a widower then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Learn something new.
yeah. And anyway, yeah, he remarried afterwards to another lady, but I don't know where I was in the story.
Okay, so you were talking about grandma, both grandmas, their friendship in school, and then coming out here, and when she married
Yeah, when mom,
Grandpa Lauren, and Grandma Smith married Grandpa Smith.
and they kept in touch. They were really, really close, super close. And when my mom passed away in 1959, um, she wanted me to come out and bring my little brother for
Right.
to see the stampede, was what she said. Come for a holiday, and she said if I liked it, you know, that she would help me get settled and stuff out here. And so I came and brought Barry with me, and I think he was 7 at the time.
Oh, he was young.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I was only 16.
I forget that Uncle Barry was that much younger than you too.
And he was 7 years younger.
Yeah.
But anyway, we came out and we did go to the stampede and thoroughly enjoyed it. But we decided to stay, and I ended up marrying Barry Fudger, who was Winnie's son, and
So
we
how did that turn? How did that turn? How did that come about?
we were always pen pals for years.
Okay, so you had a familiarity with Dad before you came out
Oh
here.
yeah,
Okay.
and anyway, we came out and we were just friends to start with, and then I think it was Grandma's aim from day one that he would marry a little newfie girl. Grandma thought that maybe I was more pure than some of the ones that were around, but I
uh,
mean, like it was rather silly. But I was certainly naive and had never been anywhere but in Buren, and
mm-hmm.
which is with about 4,000 people, and I hadn't been anywhere in my life, and Grandma Fudger Winnie wanted me to come out and see the stampede and bring Barry, and I did, and I decided that I would get an apartment.
Did you fly out or did you
We
drive?
flew, no, we flew out.
Do you remember your first approach into Calgary to land?
No, yeah, I don't remember that anymore because a lot of things I forget these days.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
was going after.
it was.
I was going after whether or not you were impressed with the mountainscape.
Oh, I was very impressed. But I really missed the water. Barry took me out to Chestermere the first week I was here because I was crying. I missed home and the ocean.
That really didn't
And then
quite cut it, did it?
I didn't do a thing because that was a slough by comparison. Oh boy! But anyway, he meant well,
Yeah,
and
might have been a little better off taking you out to the mountains, to Lake Minnewanka or
yeah,
something,
right,
maybe.
yeah. But anyhow, it worked out. Like my first apartment was in a house. I think it was 426 Superior Avenue, and I lived in the basement
Tell me your
suite
memory's
of
not good. You got that. Tell me your memory's not good. You can remember that.
A Jewish family, and they were really kind to me.
Mm-hmm.
They were really sweet, and it was not very far from Grandma's house, so I used to walk over every day. And
Was
yeah,
she already retired by this time?
no, she used to do fancy sandwiches, and I used to help her.
I so remember that table laid out with all those, and the ones that I remember the most of those little round ones that were cut with the bread, with the little, I think it was
Pinwheels,
with the little cheese carrot on top with, I think, a
yeah.
parsley or whatever.
Oh, those, yeah,
Yeah, that I'll never
yeah.
forget those. I used to love
She was right
sandwiches.
into that when I came in, so I used to help her. And when she did a party, I would do the sweets. I would make all the squares and stuff like that for her.
Nice.
and I'd help her do the sandwiches. That was, yeah, that was kind of fun, really. But she was awfully good to me. I mean, I had never been anywhere in my life, and she made sure that I was introduced to a lot of people.
How
And
well did you and Grandpa hit it off?
grandfather, I absolutely loved him, and he he loved me, and he worked for Superior Glass, and he was a glass cutter, and he was a very, very special person in my life. And when he had Christmas parties from where he worked, Grandma would never go. She wasn't interested in it because she didn't want to dance or anything. So
Hmm.
so that was fun. So he said to me, I said, "That's too bad." I said, "You should ask me to go with you." I'm just joking. And he said, "Would you go?" And I said, "Of course I'd go with you." Anyway, he said, "I can't dance." So I had dancing lessons with Dad every day after work. I used to teach him how to do walls and the,
So where did
oh,
you learn dancing from?
oh, just watching my parents.
Yeah. So Grandma and Grandpa Smith used to
Yeah,
used
oh,
to
Dad
dance.
and Mom were dancing all the time.
Uh,
Yeah. And anyway, it was really nice. And I know the first time I went to his Christmas party, um, he went off down to the bay and he bought a brand new suit of clothes. He bought a new top coat, new shoes, everything from top to bottom.
mm-hmm.
And he went, and Grandma was so mad at him for spending all that money. And he said, "I'm not taking my daughter anywhere." He said like that because he always called me his daughter. He said, "You're the daughter I always wanted to have."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I went to the first Christmas party with him because Mother wouldn't go, and he introduced me to everyone as his daughter. And I used to every day come home from school, or not from school, but from work, and he'd come home from work, and I'd practice dancing with him in the living room.
Where were you working at the time?
I was working. I can't remember where I was working. Um,
Do you remember what you were
I
doing?
worked at Woolworths when I first came here for a while, and I worked in
Which
a
is,
coffee shop,
and Woolworth, for those that don't know, was like
a department
a
store,
department store.
5 and 10
Yeah.
downtown, and on 8th Avenue. And I worked in before that, I think. Or was that after? I can't remember now. It's a long time ago. But I worked in
Just a couple of decades.
I, I I worked in a coffee shop, and there were a lot of girls coming and going there. And I won't say which one it was because I don't want to offend anybody. Um, but anyway, I guess the proprietor would send them downstairs to fill up, the sugar and stuff like that, and then he'd go down, and so shortly after they would just walk out,
Mm-hmm.
and he never did that to me, and he treated me with utmost respect. And his wife, one time when I said I wasn't going to, I thought maybe I should quit. Oh, she begged me not to, and then I got a job in the Bank of Nova Scotia, and she was so upset, that poor woman. She wanted me back. She said I was the best girl that he ever had in the store.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But they were really nice to me. But I was very fortunate. I met good people. I had good people, and I also worked in Neonex
And Neo,
trailers.
yeah, Neonex, they did like the prefabricated,
Yeah,
uh,
like
like
and
for the trailer park kind of.
yes, and it was United Trailers too, I believe.
Now you were working at Neonex when I was born, weren't you? Or was that before that?
I can't remember, Greg. But I do know that um, I was working like I worked in the bank first, and I was doing um, oh my heaven,
Like just in.
Pro- proofing, um, going through all the checks and everything every
Okay,
morning.
so I'm just trying to line this up with timelines because you came out in '61. That was and which my dear darling sister was born in
63.
'63.
Yeah,
So things happened relatively quick between you and Dad.
yeah.
And then
And we got,
you were working at that time when you guys first got married.
yeah.
Yep.
And I lived over in Superior Avenue, which was across 17th Avenue, um, and by the United Church. And I used to go across 17th Avenue, walk over to Grandma's.
Was that the Scarborough United Church that?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where Barry and I got married, was at Scarborough United.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got pregnant, and I used to walk over to Grandma's and went to the doctor one day, and happened that Dr. Follett looked after Mrs. Fudger, or she worked for, I don't know how they knew each other anyway. And and I had gained a little bit too much weight. And he says, "You've been spending too much time with that mother-in-law."
With
And
all
because
that
he
cooking.
knew her, right?
Yeah.
She used to look after him. So anyway, it was kind of fun. But
I remember Dr. Fowler. I can't
and
picture
then
his
Dr.
name.
Nelson.
Yeah, I
He
can't picture his face, but I remember
Yeah,
as a little kid his name being
he had
bantered up.
glasses.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Nelson worked in his office, and then Dr. Follett retired after a few years, and Dr. Nelson was our family doctor for years and years.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was nice. Met some nice people at the United Church there. I went to the United Church in Newfoundland, so that was familiar to me.
How was it that Dad ended up going to the Salvation Army and moving away from the United Church?
I don't know. He was in the Salvation Army before I came out.
Okay.
And I was familiar with the Salvation Army because I had a lot of friends that were in the Salvation Army, and it was a common practice for the young people after the 7 o'clock service was over at the United Church for us to take a walk up Barron Bay and go to the after service, they called it, in the Salvation Army.
Right.
And we'd listen to, in a testimony meeting, and we're a part of that sometimes. And it was good. It was really good.
Sully Ann, I remember the thing that we used to always do coming back, stopping at Chicken on the Way.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how happy I was when they finally decided to open up a second Chicken on the Way just up by us. How many times have I gone there since? Hardly any. Why? Because nobody in my family really tends to like the chicken. But for me, there's a lot of good nostalgia and stuff. I think it
Yeah.
still tastes good. And those corn fritters, love them.
But uh, it was good times and sad times. Sometimes I was very lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and I really missed home. And we had Gloria, and in 1963, and when Gloria was about uh, probably 6 months old, we decided to go to Newfoundland and we drove down.
That's
And
a long
Grandma
drive.
Fudger went, and Barry and me and Gloria as a baby. That was the first trip back after being out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Uh, I don't know when the next. time. I think I went back. Somebody passed away in the family.
Okay, so when the only time I remember going to Newfoundland was that the second time you went back after?
Probably.
Because I remember. Okay, so a couple of things that are kind of vivid for me on that is sitting on the end of the wharf,
Yeah.
cracking open the shells that were on there,
Yeah.
To try to catch fish just off the dock.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember the squid shack, and I think you were telling me that Uncle Barry used to. No, that wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been Uncle Barry. Was it Uncle Barry? One of them, and
Uncle
some
Harold, probably.
maybe Harold. Uh, um, I remember. I remember having cereal, and it was canned condensed milk.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep.
Like I remember the iron or the cast iron stove
Yeah.
in I don't know whose house that was. And the other thing I remember when Dad finally came out, it was the only time I ever saw Father with a beard.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
every other time Dad always was clean shaven.
That is
That's Milo's.
Yes, this is
Yeah,
Milo's.
who? Milo.
Milo's.
Milo's.
It's Milo with the S.
That's Stephanie's
Go
cat.
down, go down, go
Yeah.
down, go down. Calm yourself. We've had him for like a year and like 3 months. So.
But anyway, where were we?
Oh, we were talking other stuff. Hang on a sec. You know what, Grace? If you want, you can use this for the time being.
No.
I'm
No.
okay because I'm just a little preoccupied at the moment. Okay.
You can have my phone too.
No, I have it and I have Snapchat and everything.
Okay.
I have the phone.
So, anyhow, where were we? Okay, so when was it Uncle Boyd? Like, why and when did Uncle Boyd come out?
Uncle Boy came for visits when you were just little.
Okay, because I thought
He
he had.
never moved out.
Okay,
He never ever moved
okay.
out.
So the memory that I have of him being out there was generally when he was.
Yeah, I got pictures of you and him walking out in Glenmore Park,
Okay.
and you were just a little fart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
But you know, I don't think you ever got to meet my sister, Aunt Dot.
I don't think
You met Marilyn and Jim when they were out.
when they were out here. I don't remember anybody else from your side of the family.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe one of the downsides of that is, when you're almost feels like a continent away. Like Newfoundland's so damn far, and it's it's cost prohibitive. I think for people to well,
It's
anyways,
very expensive.
it is.
And like it, yeah.
But
But anyway, it's always good to go home
yeah,
for visits and stuff. But eventually, you guys all grew up. And Michael and Drina went down with me, I think it was in 1983. Would it be?
that's
I had,
ballparking around
yeah,
there.
I had remarried and going through a really rough time. And
Because I think
the
you.
doctor recommended I go spend some time with family. So we took a trip to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was nice. And I took Michael and Drina with me because they were younger
Mm-hmm.
and you were working and doing, I don't know if you were finished school. I think you were.
Yeah, I was probably doing a pretty good
Yeah,
job of wrecking my life at that particular point.
yeah.
Gibbs. Yeah,
And anyway, we went home
in
and we
trouble with the
spent a
law.
year. We just spent a year there.
Yeah.
And many times Michael said we probably should have stayed because, you know, it was good times for
Yeah.
him. But we lived with Boyd, my brother, and he was so good to us. And He was the father to Michael that Michael never had when I was, because I had remarried and he wasn't close to my husband.
Yeah.
But he worshipped the ground Uncle Boyd walked on, and Uncle Boyd loved him, thought the world of him, and Drina too. And we stayed there a year, and then we came back. And life just kind of continued,
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my own and happy. I had good friends, and yeah,
That's cool.
I got an apartment, and yeah, it was nice.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop this here for now.
Yeah.
So until next time.